All right, guys, what is going on? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. Everything I say is my opinion and my opinion alone. Guys, what's going on? It's been a couple of days, but we're jumping right back into it. We have a first tweet here by Carl Zielinski. He says, the Arbitrum DAO is once again doing something pretty unprecedented. DAOs don't usually form M&A units, but if this pilot program goes well, perhaps we'll change that. So I'm going to comment actually more so on, I guess, the state of the DAO as I see it currently, just from my broad overview, versus just this M&A proposal in particular. To Carl's point, I kind of like the first sentence he put there. He said essentially that the DAO, once again, is doing something unprecedented. And when we say the word unprecedented, I think what we really mean is pretty much breaking the norm of what DAOs usually do and what they're usually capable of. More and more, I'm seeing a lot more proposals coming through the DAO. A lot more that are, I guess, more structural oriented versus kind of just incentive oriented, like the STIPs and the LTIPPs of the world. There's a lot more structure coming out from the DAO, whether it's from a security perspective, an M&A perspective, mergers and acquisitions, of course. And just from like an operational perspective, I think there was even a marketing one the other day that was passed. So I don't know if that was passed, actually. I think that's voting right now. All this to say that the DAO is slowly but surely becoming its own entity. I think from the beginning, it's technically always been completely on chain and it's technically on its own in its own right. But I think it's starting to develop essentially like a proper form in a direction. And I think it's actually probably like one of the most powerful things that that I think I've ever seen a DAO do. It's essentially like building itself up. It's growing up. The DAO is growing up for all intents and purposes, and it's essentially going to be. I'm going to take the bet that it's probably going to be like one of the only DAOs in crypto that will be like be able to essentially almost act on its own, if that makes sense. For those of you who don't know, I think a lot of people, when they hear DAOs, when they think about the word DAO, they usually the structure is like the foundation controls the DAO, and the foundation essentially acts on behalf of what the DAO does. So, like for example, you can take almost any protocol. For the most part, most of the voting for any of their DAOs are off chain, and they're just temperature checks. Pretty much, they're all just temperature checks, and the foundation essentially has to sign off on whatever the temperature check passes. The foundation is expected to do that, right? Whereas the Arbitrum DAO is completely the opposite. Again, fresh reminders that the Arbitrum DAO is completely on chain and actually controls funding for the Arbitrum Foundation, just in case people don't know that. It's funny because whenever I explain that to people, they're like, that sounds like the opposite. And it's because, unfortunately, this isn't the norm when it should be. Nonetheless, I just wanted to shout this proposal out in particular because I thought it was pretty cool. I never thought about a DAO having a merger and acquisition arm or unit, I guess, in that matter. And I look forward to see this, hopefully coming to fruition. I'll make sure to go more in detail on it if it does end up passing. I'm not sure. Did he actually say it's passing? Maybe it already did pass. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so lost. If it already passed, I'll make sure to recover this again. But nonetheless, shouts to Carl for that tweet. Wanted to make sure I highlighted this today. I think it actually did pass, by the way. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I saw one tweet post about it. We'll go into depth on it in a future video because it'll probably be a lot. Next tweet by Arbitrum, the Arbitrum Foundation. They say, woke up to an all-time high of over 24 million unique addresses. Let's add another zero, only on Arb. Now, this is actually pretty incredible. Obviously, I think the past couple of days, a lot of people have noticed that the unique address count on Arbitrum has been pumping up a lot, surpassed essentially every other blockchain. I think yesterday it passed Solana even, I think to about 850 something thousand unique users in a day using Arbitrum, which is pretty incredible. I will say I do think a majority of that is from I think there's like an airdrop going on by this like UX Link project that happens to be extremely on-chain heavy. So if you see a lot of people using Arbitrum, it's for various reasons, of course, but I think in this case, the enormous increase in transactions is probably due to I guess an airdrop that's happening. I didn't receive any of it, so of course it is what it is from my end. But if you did, then congratulations. Okay, same thing. And something else from Arbitrum Foundation, I should say. They say here that today marks the last day of the Arbitrum Arcade. Check out some of the content created around Tarochi, which was, I guess, the last game of the week there, along with some details about the conclusion of this 9-week long campaign. And they essentially posted a ton of videos here of content creators that played Tarochi in this case, like they've been doing the past 9 weeks. And they end here with, it's been an amazing 9 weeks collaborating with the content creators and the games involved in the first, in this first of a kind on-chain gameathon. Stay tuned for a more complete retrospective on the Arbitrum Arcade. And for the gamers who participated, your NFT will be coming soon. For those who don't know, I've actually myself been participating in the campaign, kind of helping the foundation, doing some of the operational stuff around it. But it's been pretty cool being part of it and seeing it kind of come to life, and now obviously seeing it wind down. I think like we're a big fan of at least like we as me, myself, and people who work at Offchain Labs, pretty big fans of the whole idea of first principles. I never liked the idea of kind of just taking what someone's done and just slapping like a new kind of marketing thing on it. To me, it's like part of crypto is kind of breaking the barrier and doing what hasn't been done before, and it's been fun to do that stuff. The past 2.5 years I've been at least at Offchain Labs doing it. So it's been a pleasure helping the Arbitrum Foundation, kind of operate this campaign. All right, we have a tweet here by Saltwater Games. This one was today. They say Saltwater Games is excited to announce that we're building on Arbitrum Orbit to launch XR1, a groundbreaking layer 3 chain engineered to redefine Web3 gaming. I'm not going to go into details about it, but essentially yet again another Orbit chain launching using the Arbitrum stack. Shoutouts to the Saltwater folks. I think these are the guys actually that made Solaros, which is a game on Arbitrum as well that I think just recently launched. But nonetheless, very excited to see this. And yeah, I mean, like there's no slowdown on Orbit chains. I'll tell you that much. I think we're all kind of expecting. Speaking of Orbit chains, a Senko chain coming soon. TM. Everyone's highly anticipating that it will be in the 18th, since that's what Smoothie has been kind of hinting at on Twitter. But who knows? Let's see. Nonetheless, shout out to Saltwater Games for utilizing the Layer 3 technology, Arbitrum Orbit. All right. The next tweet here. This is a pretty cool one. So we have one by Kane, formerly at Synthetics, now creating an app called Infinex. Let me just make sure if I can get this real quick. And they call themselves the UX layer. To be honest with you, I don't know a ton about it. As you can see, they're taking the whole simplicity approach. So I'm not even going to try to explain it because I don't want to butcher it. But nonetheless, the general idea currently where they're at is that you can actually deposit tokens into it for, it sounds like governance points or governance tokens in return. And they've allowed for deposits from 6 different chains, and Arbitrum is leading second. And for those of you who don't know, the reason why this is kind of a big deal and why Kane over here said, not gonna lie, this is bullish for Arbitrum for the first few Infinex integrations, is because Kane's last project, Synthetics, was essentially optimism based, right? And obviously they've also kind of how do I say it? They've expanded to base since then as well, and that's where they mainly operate, on optimism and base. It's no surprising that Optimism's TVL isn't that high, just because it's not really known for DeFi and stuff like that, which I assume is what Infinex is going to be. But I will say that it is pretty surprising that Arbitrum is leading essentially second behind Ethereum, and I think that's just because of the nature of how the communities within these chains are, right? Obviously, a lot of liquidity on Arbitrum does like DeFi, so it's natural that most of the deposits for this app that I assume is going to be DeFi, is on Arbitrum, and I think that's why I think that also caught Kane by surprise as well, considering most of his audience is OP based people. I don't know, just kind of funny, I guess. But nonetheless, shout outs to Kane for the new project. Looking forward to seeing the integrations that Infinex ends up getting, and hopefully having more context around what you're building here. Very excited. We have a tweet here by Ostium. I was looking at Arbitrum stuff earlier today, and I saw that they put this out. I said, why not? Let's just throw them in here. Ostium says, our testnet on Arbitrum is now permissionless and open to anyone. Over a dozen exotic commodities, FX pairs, and indices are now on chain for the very first time. Connect, click, share, and seamlessly. Wait, what? Connect, click, and share seamlessly, I think is what you mean to say. Nonetheless, shout outs to Ostium. I think it's funny because I think there's a lot of DeFi projects on Arbitrum now. And I think sometimes it's hard to get, I guess, a recognition or even like, I don't know, like marketing support or anything like that on X or, just any different platform. And not to say, not meaning from the Arbitrum account specifically, but more so just from like, just generally speaking, like attention's really, really hard to get nowadays on crypto and Twitter and whatnot. I don't think Elon has helped that. So that's partially why I'm doing these videos and partially why I wanted to shout out Ostium for building on Arbitrum. So appreciate you guys for building on Arbitrum as usual. Keep killing it, please. And we're going to end off today's video with a tweet by Steven Goldfitter, CEO at Offchain Labs. He says, when looking back, blockchain development will be divided into two eras, pre-Stylus and post-Stylus. The Arbitrum Stylus era is coming soon. Are you ready to utilize Stylus on day one? There's still time, but it's getting tight. Now, it's kind of funny because I think, I bull post a lot. A lot of people at Offchain Labs bull post quite a bit. And it might be easy to kind of look at it, like, take a look at a tweet and, whatever. Okay, they're just bull posting. It is what it is. They're excited about what they're building, and that's it. But I think Steven has a very good point here. I think thus far, Ethereum development, and this is coming from a non-dev, so definitely take it with a grain of salt. But I think Ethereum development has remained pretty much the same for the past couple of years, at the very least. To me, the 0 to 1 moment I think for a lot of people was like Uniswap, when Uniswap came out, and that's when DeFi summer kicked off. And I feel like ever since then there hasn't been a real big eureka moment or really big 0 to 1 moment for the Ethereum development space. And to be honest with you, that's where a lot of the mind share is right now in Ethereum development. Shout out to the Solana people and everyone else. But let's be honest, that's kind of, that's OG Ethereum is OG crypto pretty much, right? And Arbitrum obviously today as more or less the flagship layer 2 for Ethereum, I think is going to introduce that next 0 to 1, or maybe in this case is 1 to 2, the correct word to say, is going to introduce that next phase of development for Ethereum with Stylus. And again, just for those of you who don't know, that essentially allows people to code in languages other than Solidity, which does open up the design space for a plethora of new, more compute heavy specific applications on chain. But in a nutshell, to kind of, from from user perspective, what does that mean? That means that the apps you may use will now start to be able to be coded in Rust or any other language that can compile it down to WASM. So much more efficient apps and much cheaper at that. I mean, frankly, transactions on Arbitrum are already very cheap, but the point is that post-Stylus builders are going to have a lot more flexibility to build things that they never were able to build on Ethereum apps before. So that's why I do agree with what Steven's saying here. And I think as much of a meme as it looks like today, before Stylus does go live on mainnet, I think we're going to be looking back and really kind of scratching our heads and being like, wow, that's actually insane. That Stylus had this much of an impact on the design space. So we'll see. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm one of those people that says you could totally see, in my opinion, Stylus on Ethereum at some point. I'm just saying it may be possible, right? If it takes off on Arbitrum and essentially all the devs are starting to come over and kind of toy with it, I could see it. I don't know. I'm just saying I could see it. That being said, guys, I'll end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. These videos are coming out, relatively in a spotty nature, but that's just because I don't know. Some days I'm streaming on Senko. Some days I want to make sure I'm posting on Twitter. It'll go back and forth, but I definitely want to make sure I'm still putting these out on Twitter where people can see them the most. But that being said, guys, again, thank you for watching, and catch you in the next one, all right? Peace out.